I'm ready, so let's be on your feet, please. Go ahead, Zach.
Birds had to cross an endless desert where the scorching wind never drew breath.
Oh well, today has been a very special day. You've caught us at a 10 out of 12, 10 hours of 12-hour day of technical rehearsal. This is the shape, right? Yeah.
Actors are getting a feel for the stage for the first time, and now this feels like the rehearsal where everyone starts to really bond. The cast bonds with each other, and the production and the performance elements actually come together in the live.
What's the meaning of this story?
It's a wonderful Sufi tale. Sufism is a form of Islamic mysticism, the spiritual interpretation of the Quran. And there was this great poet, Attar, Fariduddin Attar, who lived in Iran in the 12th century. After he had a spiritual encounter, he began to write great poetry. And one of his pieces became a masterpiece, actually this one, Conference of the Birds.
The birds are wildly excited by this tale. They walk in all directions and some begin to fly.
The tale is about all the birds of the world gathering together for a conference. And they say that the world is in chaos.
The hoopoe, who's kind of the queen of the birds, lets the other birds know that the state of affairs can't go on, that these petty wars and squabbles are kind of ruining everything, and they have to go to see this mythical king of the birds called Simorg.
I'm as frail as a hare. I haven't the strength of an ant. Of course, I want to see Simorg, but how could a weakling like me make the journey?
So the hoopoe convinces all of these birds who are afraid or just don't want to go on this incredible journey where they discover things about themselves, they tell stories about the past, discover things about the future, and eventually, I'm not going to tell you the ending, but eventually reach their goal.
In the search for the Simorg, we see all of the birds struggling with their own inner demons and their vices, and it's how do we transcend and how do we overcome those.
What's the Simorg to me? Look at my 100,000 colors.
The birds are archetypal in a sense that they each represent different struggles that people go through when they live their lives.
Come, fly, don't despair!
My crimes are so heavy, they drag me down.
Forward!
I can't!
And the birds and their growth throughout the show symbolizes people overcoming their faults and their struggles to achieve and create something amazing.
That's the journey that the piece goes on, and the director wanted to create a world that drew upon ancient Persian illuminated manuscripts. He wanted it to be modern at the same time. I say he, we all wanted this. So I combed through all, hundreds of images of research of these different elements and tried to find a modern world where a sense of humor can exist, and there's a lot of there's jokes written into the script and into the way that the director has interpreted it. So the world needs to be able to feel sort of dark and light at the same time. The themes are dark, and there's a lot of humor at the same time.
Our sound design on this play is the best sound design I've ever had the privilege to work with. We've had the sound designer in rehearsal for weeks, and he's brilliant.
We asked the Brandeis Wellesley Orchestra to improvise according to certain rules, like everybody play the highest note that you can play quietly, and then took all of it and processed it so that it's utterly unrecognizable.
The unwritten objective is to make people aware that there are many, many interpretations of Islam, not just this fanatic one we see, the politicized, radical interpretation. And I would love it if the audience would understand, that there's a much more beautiful, richer, spiritual interpretation of Islam.
And something our director has been trying to do with this play is to bridge the gaps between religions and demonstrate that ultimately they all want the same thing, and that's this relationship with divinity and this enlightenment and peace with the world.
When the world is filled with instruments of war and instruments of pain, theater and art in general has this amazing ability to just turn the camera around.
I've seen it.
In every single time, in every single cultural renaissance, the arts have come back because they had to, because they're necessary for human peace and happiness. It's this wonderful opportunity to have this important, meaningful kids' story put out there to show that everyone has this beautiful innocence and capacity to appreciate beauty and lightness.
When the last flame has flickered out, a tiny phoenix appears in the middle of the burning ash.
Ça va, continue. It's okay, good, guys.